Yee-haw!
Giddy up, Al.
Good morning, everyone. And if you weren't awake already, I hope that did it for you.
It did it for me.
Excellent,
Thank
excellent,
you.
excellent.
Thank you.
This is Dave's Corner Garage. We've got a great show lined up. Brian, who have we got?
We've got our friend Amy Bradley from Wayfarer Insurance here. I saw her last weekend at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and she basically screamed at me from across the entire racetrack.
And you heard her.
I heard her, yes.
And because why was she screaming?
Well, she recognized me, but I was with my dog.
And the dog looked at her and said, Brian, you know this girl.
No, he instantly fell in love with Amy.
Oh, perfect,
Yeah, they're
perfect,
pals.
perfect.
Yep.
He did. I wanted him here today, but it's okay. I'm like, where's Monty?
Amy is from Wayfarer Insurance, and she's got all kinds of RV tips for us. Amy, thanks for coming down.
Oh, thank you so much for having me again, fellas.
Now, it's a specialty business, eh? Like Wayfarer is specifically the one you want if you got an RV.
Absolutely. So we specialize in it. This is something that RVs are quite unique, and you want to make sure you have the coverage for everything that you have. We insure everything from your motorhomes to travel trailers, fifth wheels, campers, park models. We have it all.
Okay, that's great. We'll get to it after the break, of course. We've got Kyle Grabke. He's from Drive for Smiles. What's that all about?
They do events in support of the Starlight Foundation. And it's track events, so it's my kind of thing. So they give people rides and around racetracks and very cool cars. So we'll be talking about that with Kyle a little bit later.
Yeah, it's to put smiles on faces of kids who are in some dire straits, eh?
Exactly, and you know, I mean, I was a kid, and when I was a kid, loved all these cool cars, all the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and all that stuff.
Sure, actually, and too, if you're listening in and you happen to have one of these cool cars, they're looking for people to, give up a couple hours and you get to go. So it's on a racetrack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on a racetrack. Toronto Motorsports Park, which is nowhere near Toronto. It's in Cayuga, but it's a lovely drive. I did it a couple of weeks ago, and it's a lovely track. It's a beautiful spot, and I think they're going to have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. The kids will just love it. And we've got Jeff Atkinson, speaking of racetracks.
Yes, Honda Indy. We're a stone's throw from the circuit right here in the studio, and next weekend, they've got lots of racing going on.
So that's where street racing is legal.
Totally legal, yes. No, and no speed limits there either.
But you need special cars and you need a special license to do it.
Yeah, I've got one of those licenses. It's kind of helpful.
Yes. And we're going to get after the break. We're going to talk about some guys up in the Woodbridge area who like to race their fancy cars, and
but they're doing it in the wrong place.
Exactly. One got caught, and they took it away. But we'll get into those details afterwards, of course. And that's about it. We got a great show. What's been doing with you? Everything cool?
Driving another electric car. Cost me $1.96 to charge it overnight.
And how many kilometers was that for, though?
300.
300?
300 kilometers for $1.96.
If I just went down the street for ice cream and came back, it would cost me more than that.
In a gasoline car, for sure.
Right. And then the ice cream, of course, was $10.
Yes, that's right.
Everything gone crazy these days.
Everything's expensive.
All right. We're going to wrap it up and be back with Brian and myself and some tidbits from Amy as well. This is Dave's Corner Garage. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Dave's Corner Garage. I'm Brian Max here with Alan Gellman from Glen Allen Motors and Amy from Wayfarer Insurance.
And if you're listening in and you happen to be part of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, it wasn't a wonderful day in the neighborhood, was it?
No, I had, unfortunately yesterday I'm on Rogers for Wi-Fi, and it was a busy business day for me. Early morning and no Wi-Fi, and I had to flip on my phone to get internet on in the office and all of that stuff, but it was not a good day.
Roger that. But you know what? People are so dependent now on the internet. I just mentioned before the show that my daughter drove by and said, Dad, do you have internet? Because I got to go out of town. I don't know where to go. But when you're in a motorhome, you're out in the boonies, you need that information. Do all campgrounds have internet?
The majority of them do, yes, have Wi-Fi or internet. But to be honest, it is spotty because you're out there camping. But it's always good to try to hook on. And if you can't, you can hotspot it off your phones as well, or hotspot the different locations. You just go to your settings, which is a good thing to do, especially with different storms and everything coming in. And if you have emergencies, you're going to want to have somewhere to call if you can't walk, or drive to get help,
and
especially when you're camping.
And most campgrounds will be aware of a safe building or safe structure where you could, hold up in.
Absolutely. So if there's a storm coming or anything like that, what I always suggest on your phones, and if you do have an outage, like happened yesterday, use your hotspots if you can. But when you go to register into the campsites, always ask them, say, where is your shelter if there's storms that come in? You should always know how far you are from it, where it is. Can you walk? Can you run? I always say, jump in your car, get there if you can. Now, with your phones and with the Wi-Fi, you should always put in your location where you're camping. Because, just for an example, you know me, I'm going to tell you examples because I've been through it, and that's how I tell you how things work. So I always put in my locations. And we were at CTMP, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and it said that big storm that came through, Bowmanville, Uxbridge, we all remember it. It said I had an hour before this storm was going to come in. And yes, it came through my phone. Me being me, I procrastinate. I was like, I have an hour. I can slowly put things away. No, you cannot, my friends. When you get those alerts, if you are camping, start rolling in your awnings because they are just a flap in the wind. That's going to take your trailer. Some flipped, and thank goodness some people were okay. They were all right, banged up and bruised, but they're good. Sometimes you just can't prepare enough.
All right, you know what? Let me just put you on hold for that because we got a whole segment ahead.
Oh, yes, we do.
You're going to get like a whole hour just to talk and talk. We'll just let you go, eh? Speaking of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, that is a place where you can go to race your car, correct?
Absolutely. I've raced there. I did a track day there recently and had a great time. Went as fast as I wanted, and I wasn't driving a super fast car, but I did 208 kilometers an hour on the back straight.
Whoa, that's fast.
Yeah, but it's a racetrack. So
hang on. I think this guy in the Lambo was doing almost that fast.
Almost that fast.
Except he was on Highway 7 or Kiel. I'm not sure which.
He was on Highway 7 near Kiel this week in a Lamborghini Aventador. It's a 60 zone. And he did 170 kilometers an hour and got caught. Serves
him right.
Yeah. That is, yes, the car can get up to that speed quickly, but that is so dangerous.
You know what? But he got fined and he's going to lose the car.
Yeah, the car is sitting in impound right now. He doesn't have a driver's license. And Amy, what happens when you're insured and your car gets impounded and you lose your license?
Well, when that happens, and for this instance, I will talk about, you may get a letter in the mail stating...
Is it a friendly letter?
It's not a friendly letter. It's a letter you do not want to have. And then you may have to look for insurance elsewhere. The only reason why I know that is because we do your collector cars, exotic cars. We have that specialty product line as well. And that is something you do not want on your driving record because that's going to hurt you throughout your whole driving experience, especially getting insurance elsewhere.
Yeah, I ended up in court once, and it wasn't for myself, but for someone else, and we had a careless charge, and they said, "Would you reduce it to this?" And I said, "More than happy to, but why should I worry about a careless?" He said, "Oh, that's an automatic doubling of your insurance premium, apparently."
Absolutely, and you're getting points and everything, and it's going to hurt you.
But in this case here, Brian, how much would that car have cost?
So new that would have been about a $500,000 car, and I know this car very well because I tested them over the years, and I know which year this is, and I don't think they identified here, but this is about a 2014 model, which would that's now an 8-year-old car, and what typically happens is these exotic car drivers, they generally don't replace their tires. And when we're talking about a very ultra high performance car, you have to replace the tires frequently. So my guess is that car was still rolling on its original tires because they don't put miles on these.
Right.
Those being 8-year-old tires, this is not a car you want to drive fast.
Really, because you don't want to, torque it or put stress on it, because that's when you're going to blow the tire.
Exactly.
And half of these people really have no experience. They're just rich cats that own them.
Well, this is the thing. And generally the people that get caught street racing are not track drivers. Mm-hmm. And, if they are track drivers or race drivers, they know not to do this on the street because it's so dangerous. Because once you have that track experience and you understand that it is that safe environment, it's a controlled environment, there's no point to going, doing silly speeds on public roads because there's traffic coming in from every direction. It's not a good idea to do this.
Now, whether you're on the track or on the street, if you crack up that car, there is no insurance, right? No.
Nope.
Not a lot of visuals here. No. That is Amy. She's ready to go, and you just a head nod away.
Yep. Roger that, Al.
This is Dave's Corner Garage, and we're going to be talking to Kyle Grabke from Drive for Smiles right after this break.
Welcome back to Dave's Corner Garage. I'm Brian Max. Alan Gelman is with me, and Amy Bradley from Wayfarer Insurance. And don't forget to go to Dave's Corner Garage for our wickedly awesome July contest. We're giving away a Thule roof box, courtesy of Wayfarer Insurance. So go to davescornergarage.com for your chance to enter. And coming back from that last segment, we were talking about basically taking it to the track and don't bother street racing. Mm-hmm. And we've got Kyle Grabke from Drive for Smiles. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be able to speak a little bit more about Drive for Smiles, and thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak about it on your show.
Great. Do you have a Lamborghini yourself?
I wish I did, but I can't say that I do. Not yet, at least.
Maybe a 1/32 one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got those.
All right, so you're looking for people that have fancy cars who want to share the ride. What's the deal there?
Yeah, so I mean, Drive for Smiles itself is an event that I'm going to talk about in a second, but I think it's actually best to kind of start with Starlight's Children Foundation, as this is the foundation in which Drive for Smiles, the Drive for Smiles event, actually falls under. Uh-huh. And so what makes Starlight so special is that they kind of do what no medicine can. They create these priceless smiles for seriously ill children and their families, and they've been doing so for over 30 years. What I think a lot of people really quickly forget is the toll that a serious illness can have on a child. Obviously, on one hand, there's the physical aspect, but there's also the idea that due to the continuous treatment and hours on end that they have to be in hospital, some children really miss out on the important aspects of their childhood. And Starlight kind of looks to fill a void in any way that they can in that childhood. Yeah. And so there's two primary ways they do so. The first of which is in-hospital, events such as parties, kind of providing toys and technologies to help distract from the boredom of hospitalization. And on the other hand, there's the, out-of-hospital events. There's numerous programs that Starlight runs. So there's maybe stuff like going on to cheer your favorite sports team, for example, all the way to hopping in a supercar to drive around a track. And that's where Drive for Smiles gets involved. And so Drive for Smiles was actually voted the #1 out-of-hospital event by these children and their families, and since inception has raised over about $3 million in total, which is just incredible. But the basis of the event is to bring together a number of exotic and luxurious cars, such as Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Porsches, McLarens, to give these Starlight kids a ride around a track and kind of a memory of a lifetime in a controlled environment.
So you do it at the racetrack, correct?
Yes, we do. And so this year, at least, there's kind of two events every year. So there's the one in Montreal, which is usually hosted at the beginning of June. And so this year, actually, that event was host to over 60 exotic cars and raised about $500,000, a little bit over, this year alone, which is exactly, it's one of those things that's just, it's something that's truly special. And so the second Drive for Smiles event, which is the one that I'm a co-founder and current co-chair of in partnership with my dad, Sven Grabke, is hosted in Toronto, and this year will be hosted on September 11th at the Toronto Motorsport Park in Cayuga.
And how's the money actually raised? Like if I have the car, are you charging me to come along, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so there's kind of a couple main ways to get involved. On one hand, like you said, if you do own, again, a stress on the exotic cars, so Porsches, Lambos, Ferraris, McLarens, Sorry, BMW drivers. But there's a donation or a amount that has to be paid. I believe it's $1,000 this year to bring your car and then get the chance to go around the track with these kids. And so that initial donation is made there. There's also event sponsorship opportunities for like corporate brand visibility. Obviously, there's a big outreach that we have, especially in the car community, and something that's very public in the public eye. So that's another way. And then the third way is, the big way, at least for us, is if you don't have that car, because it's one of those things where not everyone obviously has a fancy supercar, exotic car. You can still contribute by sponsoring a driver or even just donating to my personal funding page, which can be done at d4storonto.com.
And okay, so you got the internet. That's great, and it's on. September 11th. You're having it, correct?
Yeah. So it'll be this September 11th. Again, the Toronto Motor Sport Park in Cayuga. And so the way that the day actually kind of works out is, so I believe it's around 9 or 10 o'clock that the kids arrive. There's a bit of like a parade lap around the track where, well, the drivers just kind of get to rev their engines, and all the cars get to kind of be seen at once. Mm-hmm. And it's a really kind of cool and special moment in a sense where everyone just kind of gets to experience that thrill. And then there's, more than a couple of hours of taking the kids around in different groups. Usually it's around 3 laps. Bring the kids in, drop them off, and keep going and rotating through that. And then at the very end, there is usually an hour or so, if you have the energy for it, where it's just an hour of like a track day type thing.
All right, we do have to wrap it up quickly. If people want more information, the website is?
Website's d4storonto.com.
All right, want to wish you lots of luck. It's a great thing, and raising money for these kids, and I'm sure it puts big smiles on their faces.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, take care. This is Dave's Corner Garage. We're going to be right back after the break. We're going to be talking exclusively to our in-studio guest, Amy Bradley, who's always got a big smile on her face. And she don't even drive a fancy car.
No, I don't. I drive a mobile.
I'm thinking like the Clampets, you know?
Yeah.
Like, remember?
Oh, boy.
This is Dave's Corner Garage. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Dave's Corner Garage. I'm Brian Max here with Alan Gelman and Amy Bradley from Wayfarer Insurance. Now, I saw Amy at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park last weekend, and I'm not much of a camper, but what I did do was hang out with my pals who camped all weekend. So awesome. What I did is I enjoyed a cigar, and the dog chased the ball around, and that is the extent of my camping experience right there.
I love it. That's the way it should be.
Well, that was the good stuff.
Yes, that is the fun stuff.
Sure.
However, sometimes things happen.
Yes, things do happen while you're camping, and you want to make sure you are prepared. Like the storms, the weather that we have been having quite often, and it's either your thunderstorms, your windstorms, everything. Life happens, and you want to make sure you're prepared for it.
And why is a travel trailer or motorhome more susceptible than any other one?
Well, they're a lot taller. So when you're camping, the winds can rock you a little further. Okay. You're going to have your awnings out. And do you know what? When they're out, you're just like, I'm going to say an airplane, because it just will lift you up and can blow you right over.
Now, when you have awnings, they normally come with it, or is this an add-on that you normally have to bring along?
They come with it.
Okay.
So they're literally attached. So you roll them out. Mm-hmm. For your shade. That's where you're mostly going to sit. You're going to have your little tables there.
Well, that's like your front porch.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly, because it's your home away from home.
Right.
So you want to be comfortable. But one thing to be prepared that people forget, and this is what I always say to them, it doesn't matter if you're in a motorhome, travel trailer, park model, when you show up, and I was getting into this before, mm-hmm. but when you show up at your campground, ask them where the closest shelter is that you can go to in case you get an alert on your phone. So when you're there, put in your location. Have your location on your phone, because that's going to tell you if there's a weather alert that comes up.
Well, question. So you get the weather alert, and it says a big windstorm's coming. So, it'll give you a certain time period where you can roll up your awning and grab your your fold-up chairs and throw everything in the trailer or in the
yep.
motorhome. But why couldn't you just hunker down and stay in the home?
Well, I wouldn't do that because you have to remember, you're in a campsite, there's trees.
Okay.
They're going to come down on your trailer. They have come through your trailer. Sometimes with the wind, with your awning, if it catches, it can take your whole trailer top off.
Okay. So that's going to ruin your weekend.
Yes, it is.
And it may stop you from getting back to work on Monday.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
So I always say, when you're camping, have a package ready. I have a backpack.
Mm-hmm. A backpack?
I have a backpack.
Okay.
And I always make sure I have Band-Aids, Polysporin, you can get the spray stuff, and gloves, underwear, and socks. You may say that's funny, but no. You want something to keep for 24 hours. So, and I put a water bottle each for all of us, and so some food.
You make one of these packs for each camper?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Just one, because you just want to last 24 hours.
Okay.
That's the rule of thumb, just to get you through.
So heck with everybody else.
Yep. So you want to make sure. So you want to have all the kids. And don't forget about your fur babies. So your cats, your dogs. Make sure you have a little water bottle. I'm just talking like the 5 ml ones, one for each to get you through.
Right.
Because if you do get stuck in the storm, you need to eat something. I have kids. They eat all day long. So there's little snacks in there, and you want to make sure this is an easy place to grab while you're in your trailer or motorhome or park model. So it's a grab and go, and at least you have something covered for 24 hours.
Right, and you want to make sure you know or the rest of the family knows where you keep this stuff.
Yes. Yep. Everything else can be replaced.
I know I put it in a bag, but where did I put it?
Where is that?
You'll get the mom. Where did you say you put that? Yeah.
And, of course, it's important if you have it put away like that is to check it every few months to make sure everything's still good.
Exactly. I do it one per season because, the granola bars aren't going to expire. I get the little cereal boxes.
Right.
Because, I even camp with them, too. So those are a staple when we go camping because you just put the milk within the box.
Yeah.
So I make sure, and those last for months, so you don't have to keep on refilling it.
As long as the mice don't get them, eh?
Well, yeah. Oh, could you imagine all the mice poop and all? Anyways, we won't go there.
No.
That's something else. But you also want to make sure you have that and you know the distance of where you're going. Now, if you do have something happen, your wind, and put away, you know how you stated put away the chairs? If you have those storms, those wind storms that come, those chairs are going to go flying and they can damage your trailers. They can damage your cars. But with us, if you're insured with us, you're covered. You're covered for contents. If your puppy or your animal is in a storm and there's an accident due to that claim, like let's say your trailer flipped, we'll pay $1,000 for your little fur baby's vet bill if they're hurt or damaged. Yep.
Now, this is the difference between having Wayfarer Insurance, who specializes in this kind of thing, as opposed to any other random company, right?
That's exactly it. And it's not going to affect your home or your auto. And we also insure contents because this is your home away from home. If you're like me, your pots, pans, bedding, sheets, that's all in there. Your TV's in there because if it rains, well, you can play cards, but there's only so many hours you can play cards and have some pops, right?
Right.
Yep. Have some pops. So have a little TV in there for your kids as well. So if that breaks, we still have that contents coverage for you. The liability, in case something goes flying and hurts someone, we have that liability for you. So, and I'm going to bring up my sister. I know, there's always a family. There's always a story.
You like throwing her under the bus.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I told her, 3 strikes,
I don't think it was a bus, though.
No, not this time.
Maybe the trailer.
It was the tornado. No. Oh, dear. But no, she had that. And her kids, and it happens. Life happens. This is why you have the insurance. He hit on the toilet in the bathroom. Sometimes you have the little handle flusher or you have the foot pedal flusher. Well, her son really flushed the toilet and pushed down on the little lever on the ground.
Right.
Well, the valve did not close.
Oh.
So in a trailer, you have a gray tank. You have your black tank. The gray tank filled up, went into the black tank. We all went away, came back. She opened the door. Well, it was a pretty crappy situation for her. There was like water, everything coming out.
Oh, no.
You mean she had a flood inside the trailer?
She sure did.
And the wrong kind of flood.
The wrong kind of flood. The
No
flood
poop.
you don't want. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
No poop. Well, actually, there was.
Yep. And she asked, she's like, Amy, am I covered? I was like, oh, no, we don't cover that kind of stuff. But we actually
You were just
do.
pulling her leg
I
there.
was pulling
Yeah,
her. We do
yeah.
have septic backup coverage, water over. We have all of that. So you really are covered for all of the lifestyle brands that you have.
Okay, Wayfarer Insurance, how do they sign up for that?
Oh, you can give us a call at 1-800-949-4768 or head to wayfarerinsurancegroup.com. But we are Wayfarer from home is how I put it. So Wayfarer Insurance.
Oh, see, and I was
Group.com.
thinking you were Wayfarer, like way better to deal with, you see?
Yes, we are way better to deal with too.
Yeah, more
And
fair.
we're friendly and we answer the phone.
Right, and if you want to pop, we can share one together.
Yes, we can.
Now, if people, if stuff happens, when they're out in the boonies, how do they make sure they have the information because the insurance company's going to want to say, what happened?
Absolutely. So if that happens, let's say you're like, oh gosh, darn it. The windstorm came, tree landed on your trailer, tree landed on your awning. Take pictures of it. Make sure you are safe first.
Well, of
you
course.
are the number one person. Make sure you're safe.
Right.
And then you want to take pictures of it. Then you want to see if you can do this safely. Make sure that, if you do this safely, make sure that you don't do any more damage to the trailer. So if you can get something off safely, do so. If you can't, just stop, take a picture, give us a call. You can do it online. We have claims online 24/7.
So in other words, if you get stuck in gravel, don't try to get yourself out.
No. No.
No, like you said. Well, but you do have coverage for that, exactly.
Absolutely.
So if you're stuck, make a history project, take pictures of everything.
Yep.
But leave it there and get yourself home, save your bills, and you'll reimburse them for everything.
Absolutely. That's what your emergency vacation expense is for.
All right. We're going to be talking to Jeff Atkinson right after the break. He's from the Honda Indy. It's coming up next weekend, and it's exciting, and we'll probably hear it right here in the studio.
We'll definitely, given the schedule, they've got a full schedule. We're going to hear race cars in the studio next week for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
You're listening to Dave's Corner Garage. I'm Brian Max here with Alan Gelman and Amy Bradley from Wayfarer Insurance. And with us, we have Jeff Atkinson, president of Honda Indy. And Jeff, welcome to the show. I was reviewing the calendar for next weekend, and you've got a full slate of racing going on.
We do. We're a week away, and no better way to kick it off on our Ontario Honda Dealers Present Fan Friday in support of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The NASCAR Pinty Series, our first ever race on that day. So we'll conclude our very first day with a race, and what a lineup we have with obviously the NTT IndyCar Series on the Sunday, but Sports Car Championship Canada, the Road to Indy, as well as the Porsche Carrera Cup. It's a fantastic weekend.
Oh, so it's not a chicken wing contest or nothing like that?
No, it is fast-paced action from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. each of the 3 days. So,
well, Carlos, our operator here, wanted to know what went on Friday, and it said that it was a pennies race, and he thought, it's like, how many wings can you eat? But that's nothing to do with what we're talking about here.
No, it doesn't. But I'm sure there's some off-the-track battles in that area for the Pinty Series drivers.
Now, what's the Thunder Alley?
So Thunder Alley is basically where all the stuff happens that's not going on the racetrack. So many people come down, they buy general admission tickets that don't necessarily get you a seat, but there's obviously great places to watch around the racetrack. But when you're not watching the race, that's where you can interact with interactive exhibits. There's great food and beverage options for fans to take in, and it's just a real fun place to be throughout the weekend. So we encourage all of our festival goers and fans to, obviously take in Thunder Alley, and hopefully they get to do that more than once during the weekend.
Well, sure, especially, if you're going to bring the kids or your teenagers, it's like, I kind of like racing, but I don't want to sit there for hours and just watch them go around. So there are other activities there.
Oh, there are. There's absolutely other things to do beyond just the race, and it's really the atmosphere. Obviously, with the COVID-19 pandemic, there hasn't been much events. We obviously saw a little bit get back in the end of 2021, but this year with 2022 and all the events coming back online throughout the city and the province, this is just a great place to get down to the event and see what is happening in the city and what the Honda Indy Toronto is all about.
Jeff, when fans are coming to the event, what are the best ways for them to travel to the circuit?
Yeah, we do have parking on the event site. Exhibition Place does sell parking. There's plenty of parking around, but we strongly recommend that our attendees take, whether they be coming in from east and west or north-south, take the Metrolinx GO Train line if they can. It is very easy as it just drops you off at our front door. And, more importantly, for those who live downtown, walking is an option, but also TTC drops off right in that spot as well. So it is really accessible for any means of transportation that someone might be coming to the event with.
Now, if they want tickets, it's tickets at HondaIndyToronto.com, correct?
Yeah, so you can go to HondaIndy.com, and our ticket page is there for you. There's a great FAQ page that if there's a question that you may have, our festival fan guide may have that answer for you. So if there are any questions, consult the fan guide. There's also an email on the website should you have to reach a customer service rep as well. But HondaIndy.com, and can't believe we kick it off next Friday, and I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Now, so you've got NASCAR, you've got that racing, you've got the Indy itself. What other racing is going to be happening?
Yeah, so we have the Road to Indy 2 Series, Indy Pro and USF 2000. So that would be kind of like your single A and double A baseball, if we want to use a baseball comparison.
Right.
Then we have an incredible series, the Porsche Carrera Cup, which is a very competitive series. They compete and race both Saturday and Sunday. For those asking, all the support series, with the exception of Pinty's, which competes on Friday, they all have races Saturday and Sunday. And then we also have the Sports Car Championship Canada, which is a relatively new series, but it is the top tier of sports car racing in this country. So we're very excited to have them at the event for the first time.
But this is an absolutely international event, correct? I mean, people coming from the States?
It is. We get travelers from all over the world. Most states represented by ticket goer or ticket purchasers. Same with many destinations throughout the globe. And if you look at the participant schedule, you have many countries represented just with the drivers, whether they compete in the Canadian series or the U.S.-based series. So, no, it's a very diverse crowd, both the competition on the racetrack and those watching when they're attending the event itself.
And of course, there's plenty of Canadian drivers to root for in these championships as well. I'm going to be down on Friday, and Friday is your Fan Friday. Tell us about that, Jeff.
Yeah, so Fan Friday is an initiative that we curated back in 2010 with the Ontario Honda dealers. The Ontario Honda dealers present Honda Fan Friday in support of Make-A-Wish. What we ask is we provide our gates free of charge, but we just ask that our attendees make a small donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And through those small donations, they've turned into a very large donation since 2010. We've raised well over $820,000 since 2010. So it's a program we're very proud of with Honda and the Ontario Honda dealers, and we hope that people will join us complimentary that day, free of charge, but just ask that they make a minor donation when they come in. They'll be able to tap their credit card or debit cards as they enter to make those donations.
Jeff, the one thing I liked about NASCAR, I've been to a couple of events down in the States, is the fans can get pretty up close and personal to the cars and the drivers, especially on Fan Friday. Is it like that at all?
It is, yeah. So our paddocks, our support series paddock, including the NASCAR Pinty series, are open, complimentary, free of charge to the public. So you can, rub elbows with your favorite drivers in any of those support series. And if you want to meet the IndyCar drivers, we do have a paddock pass that we offer on our website. So if you want to see the IndyCar drivers and their cars, mechanics, and that up close, you could buy an NTT IndyCar Series paddock pass at HondaIndy.com. So very accessible Just think about this. Think about getting in the Maple Leaf locker room on game day or the Blue Jays locker room. That's just not going to happen. And motorsports really allows that to take place, and it's really a fun activity for the fans to enjoy.
And it's a different kind of smell, eh? Well, I was thinking of being in the locker room going, ooh, but here it's gas and oil and rubber. Way better.
Everything. And it isn't that thing about motorsports. It curates all your senses. It brings all your senses to life, whether it be the sound, the smell, the sight. Everything is really amplified when you go to one of these events.
There you go. Thanks again, Jeff. Hope you have a great race. I've spoken to the weather gods, and they've promised me you're going to have a great weekend.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, take care. HondaIndyToronto.com. Check it out. Get your package for tickets, and have a great time. This is Dave's Corner Garage. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Dave's Corner Garage. I'm Brian Max, Alan Gelman, and Amy Bradley from Wayfarer Insurance. Amy, you were saying something about a promotion for RVers.
I do. So if I can save some money, I always will. And one thing that has come up is the Canadian Camping and RV Council. They are having an Camping Appreciation Week, September 9th to the 11th. So go to their website, and it will show you all of the campgrounds that are giving discounts for that week and fun events for September 9th to the 11th. Hit the website so you can save some money and have a great camping time.
Is there still spots available?
There are. So this is campgrounds all across Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So it's many, and some campgrounds are still joining to this day. So hit the website because there's many different campgrounds that are there.
Now, a few months back, it was during COVID, and of course, people couldn't do anything, so you guys all promoted that camping was a great way that the whole family could be together. But gas prices have gone stupid. Have you noticed any reduction in the amount of people wanting trailers and motorhomes?
Unfortunately, no, which
Really?
is good for me. It is good for me. It's making me have a job. So, right now, dealers are starting to they're about 25% more trailers on the dealerships.
Okay.
They're still not at 100% capacity.
Right.
They're still, because it's just as fast as they're coming in, people are buying them. As I was actually driving down here, because I live an hour and a half away. So I'm on the 401 and I'm looking at this motorhome and I'm like, oh, look at that.
It was pretty?
It was pretty, and they were pulling their Jeep right behind it. And I'm looking at the tow bars. I'm like, they have a nice setup. And then I realized, oh, I'm in his blind spot. So I had to speed up a little more because when you're on the roads, they're a little longer and they can't see me. So I was like, so always keep that in mind as well. But
and with lots of new RVers and people that are pulling trailers for the first time,
yes,
there's a place that they can go to learn all about this stuff.
Yes.
And that is RVingtips.ca.
Absolutely. And we have everything of how to park, how to camp, where to go. Everything's on there at RVingtips.ca. Yep.
That's great because people don't know. I mean, you have to know about it. Like you're saying, you're driving something that's the length of your house.
Yep.
And you can't just switch lanes in the last minute.
No, you cannot.
No.
Always have that blinker on, and don't be like me driving in a blind spot. Speed up a little more. Too bad the guy couldn't hear me because I was like, sorry, friend. And I waved to him, but I got out of his way. But
but there's so many different things that you have to know. I mean, I could tell you that I was really lucky, and years ago we towed back a flatbed trailer with just garbage on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until we got home that I realized that we hadn't tightened the tongue, actually. So it weighed a lot, so it sat on the ball, but we forgot. And thankfully somebody above was looking after us because
yes.
It could have just come right off, eh?
Absolutely.
But we're just greenhorns from out in the city. We don't know nothing about that.
No. Well, do you know what? And you will learn about this as well if you visit the website. But a lot of people, there are chains. You don't want to hook up like parallel.
Right.
You want to cross them.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why you cross them is if that problem happens and life happens,
right,
that chain's going to hold you. So you're not going to dig right into the ground and then have a
major crash.
Yes.
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 Because then bigger stuff happens.
Yeah. And that's just a chain reaction that happens.
Is that why they call it a chain reaction?
Chain reaction, yes.
Wayfarer Insurance, the best company to deal with. How do we get in touch with you?
You can visit us at rvingtips.ca. If you want more information, you can go to Wayfarer Insurance Group and 1-844-929-4768.
And because you specialize in that, you know, it's going to be way better than dealing with your average company, right?
Absolutely. Because a lot of times, and you can always find what's right for you, but you want to make sure you have the proper coverage. Because a lot of people say add it to your car. Mm-hmm. You can. Well, and they'll say the liability is covered. That's only while you're hooked up to the car, because then it's attached. It's one big car.
Oh, you mean so if you dropped the trailer off at the park and then you took the car into town?
Yep.
To go to the grocery store and a tree fell on your trailer, it wouldn't be covered?
No, because it's on an auto policy.
Oh.
So, and that's even the liability as well. So when you unhook, you have no more liability on your unit.
Oh, wow.
But we come in and make sure, doesn't matter if you're hooked or unhooked, you have that premise liability to make sure you are covered.
And also, you said it's great to bring along, you know, toys and stuff for the kids to do, and of course your own computers and stuff. Do you have to list that separately on the policy?
No. Anything contents usual to the unit is covered within there. Now, your laptop, jewelry, cameras, that's just items away from your home. So that goes underneath your homeowner policy.
Okay.
So this is like your life jackets, your TVs, anything that's usual too. You know, your fishing rods, because we have that. You jam it underneath. So you're covered for it all. And that goes underneath your contents for your trailer too. I have you covered.
Thank you. Want to thank Jeff Atkinson from Honda Indy. It's next weekend, guys. So HondaIndyToronto.com. Check it out. Buy some tickets. They'll be great. And if you've got a fancy car and you want to drive some unfortunate kids around in it and put smiles on their face, you can check him out as well. That is Kyle Grabke at Drive 4 Smiles. Drive 4 Smiles is their website. Right?
Yeah, we're going to have a fun weekend next weekend with the Honda Indy. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty awesome. Amy, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me again.
Always a pleasure having you in the studio.
Carlos, sorry, it's the wing fest. It's not a wing fest, okay? it's Pitties, but it has nothing to do with chicken wings. We got to run. We'll be back next week. Bye, everyone.